What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Jae Crawford back with another excerpt of Excuse My Bias. Is this the Excuse My Bias podcast, the one and only bias sports podcast show? But not the one and only, because we all have biases, just different biases. We're going to cover the NBA Finals here today and the adjustments made by Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors in Game 2 versus Game 1. Namely, starting Boogie Cousins and using Steph Curry to set screens to open up other players on the Warriors. Just for some context, we're going to compare it to Game 1. In Game 1, Steve Kerr often only played, with really two offensive threats on the floor, which was Steph and Clay, which allowed the Raptors to basically leave everybody else open. Looney, Bell, Draymond, and Iggy. And they could just corral Steph and Clay at any ends right there. Great adjustment by putting Boogie into the lineup there to make sure you had a third threat on the floor. And then also he did a great job of making sure Boogie wasn't on the floor. He utilized Jonas Jerebko at the 5 and even played Quinn Cook sometimes in a 3-guard set there. That was kind of very big for the Warriors there to make sure that they made the adjustments to get Game 2 here. And particularly, I think this affected Marc Gasol the most. And I said previously in Game 1, Marc Gasol was my MVP for that game because, first of all, he hit the 8 points in the first half on those dare shots. And he was running the offense pretty effectively from that high elbow. But really, defensively, he did a great job on Steph by corralling him in the screen and rolls and trapping him. And they actually had one example that we're going to go over here in a moment of what they did in Game 2. Where he did do a great job of corralling them and actually getting the ball stolen from Steph. But he didn't do it too much there in Game 2 like he did in Game 1. Game 1, they basically did that in the second quarter and took Steph out of that quarter. He didn't score anything after scoring 14 in the first half. And that, to me, really swung that game. Because if Steph goes off and continues to have a good quarter in Game 1 in that second quarter, just like he did in the first quarter, that game probably swings completely differently. You remember in Game 1, the Raptors won the first half by 10 points. They only won the second half by 2. So even as great as Pascal Siakam was in the second half, and that's who everybody mainly focused on because of those 32 points, if Marc Gasol doesn't make those traps and those steals there in that second quarter to kind of corral Steph, I don't know if any of that stuff even happens in the second half. And even with that stuff happening, they still barely won that half by 2 points. So I think Marc Gasol was the MVP of that, and these changes kind of show that Steve Kerr was kind of on the same wavelength of me, saying that he wanted to make sure to get Marc Gasol, taken out of the game, so to speak, because he only had 6 points yesterday for it. So some of the changes definitely did work in Golden State's favor here. I want to break down a couple of the plays to kind of show you what we were speaking about. So in this first one here, Draymond gets the rebound here. Steph Curry is on the wing. He goes and sets a nice little back screen for Livingston on Siakam. Fred VanVleet can't leave Steph because there's not enough time to communicate there, and Steph is too good at setting that screen and relocating. So he had to take his chances on that backline defense, either kicking the ball, get a kick ball, or just getting that pass there. But Draymond does a great job of threading the needle, getting that to Livingston there, who gets a good easy dunk there. So we're going to let that roll. And he goes ahead and gets that score. And then next, you're going to see how having that third threat on the floor, particularly at the 5 spot, has really affected Marc Gasol and his ability to help be a great help defender and kind of quarterback the defense from behind. As you see here with Jerebko on the floor, Gasol doesn't have the ability to come over and help as quickly when Iggy crosses over and drives into the lane. He's a half a step slow, which allows Iggy to get one more dribble to get to the free throw line before he makes that drop pass to Jerebko, who makes a nice reverse layup there. If that's Bell or Looney, Gasol is probably early and stops Iggy before he gets to the free throw line and forces him to have to throw the lob over top. Gasol will be smart enough to jab at him and get back to maybe disrupt that, and cause a turnover there. On the next play there, you see Steph, he gets a pass from Draymond on a nice diagonal cut. This is one of their favorite plays. He throws it back out to Iggy, another diagonal pass, and then he goes and relocates behind the three-point line. As you see, Gasol is sitting in the paint muscle memory, because when Bell and Looney is in the game, he doesn't have to worry about anybody else out there at the fast spot who's a threat to shoot. But also, Jerebko does a great job of setting a screen, but Gasol also has to close out on that one very good, because if Steph gets that and say he couldn't get the shot off, he has an easy drop off to Jerebko, who could pull up from there. He doesn't have to go all the way to the basket where he could get challenged by Siakam. Steph gets it up, makes his first bucket of the game. As you remember, Steph was 0 for 5 or 0 for 6 at that point, and that really woke him up there to get him going. So you see some of the adjustments really started to work there. It was really in the second quarter, and really in this upcoming third quarter, we're going to see a lot of those plays happen there. This was the play here that I was talking about where they set the screen with Looney, and this is where they get the steal on Steph. As you see, Gasol comes over the trap. He's not even concerned with Looney at all. If that's Jerebko, Steph probably gives that ball up quickly just for an easy three, or if that's Boogie, it's the same thing. But because it's Looney, he tries to draw out the screen, tries to pull it out more to give Looney more space, takes his eyes off of Van Fleet for a second. Van Fleet gets the steal, gets an easy layup there for the Raptors there. So they didn't run that too much. So it actually kind of worked out in their favor to me that Looney didn't play as much. Now, they definitely want him on the floor. They definitely need him and need a healthy body. But they just can use him in different matchups there instead of using him primarily there when only have Steph and Clay on the floor. It's better to use him when you can use that 3-guard set that you'll see later that they do with Quinn Cook, Steph, and Clay. And then Looney's effectiveness goes up dramatically there when he sets those screens. And this is part of the example right here. You actually see, because of the transition, Marc Gasol gets matched up on Quinn Cook. That means he has to hang out in the corner and stay attached to him. So when Steph makes his drive, a nice hesitation dribble, he can't be there early in order to help stop that drive. Because usually if that's anybody else in that corner there, Bell, Looney, or whoever, he's able to go ahead and get there early. Actually, with this one, with Looney trailing the play, it actually allowed for the cross matches to happen there. So it actually was a great strategy there from the Warriors as well, is to have Looney trail on that one, knowing that Gasol is going to go all the way back there to the paint. And because now you have an actual shooter out there, because even if that's Iggy, who that's often what they would have with that lineup, even if that's Iggy out there, you're going to leave Iggy alone, and then Siakam would rotate, to whoever man got the ball after that. So all of those rotations there are a little bit slow. Steph gets that up on the glass. Nice little bank shot. Steph hit a couple of those. I think that's an underrated shot of Steph Curry. He hits that a lot and hits that at a pretty good percentage. I think he should kind of go to that more, especially in times in the half court when he have to ISO and get some things done. I think that might be a good shot there for Steph. But next here in these next plays, you're going to see how Gasol was affected when having to guard Boogie, how attached he had to be to him. So you see here, Iguodala has the ball. Gasol is attached to Boogie there. He can't leave him alone, can't hang in the paint like he would with Bell or Looney. Steph comes off, sets a nice back screen there for Draymond. Again, you can't switch, so Draymond gets an easy layup there off of that action. And then here, conversely, Boogie here gets the ball in the post. Like I said, because he's a threat in the post, you can't back off. You can't just let him face. So Boogie gets the ball, quickly makes a pass over here to Clay, who gets a screen from Steph, sort of. It really was more just kind of him getting in the way, like a brush screen. But it was just enough there that you can't switch it, you can't call out anything. Boogie throws a quick pass over there to Clay, who gets a nice reverse layup there. And then if you go here to this next play here, let's see here. Then you see how Boogie is played by Gasol up top, because, like I said, he's a threat. This leaves the back door wide open there with a lot more space. The Golden State tried to run this backdoor play a lot of times in game one, but with Looney in the game, or Bell, who's not only not good enough passer, they're not even a threat as offensively. Gasol plays back, closes that lane up a lot quicker. With Boogie making that pass, it's a lot easier there to get that ball through, where Clay can go ahead and get that easy layup. see here on this next play that even when Draymond drives, because Boogie on the floor, Marc Gasol cannot help out as much there like he would with any other guard or any other forward or center on the floor. Good show and go there from Draymond because Boogie's on the floor and he hit a three earlier. Gasol had to stay hugged up on him to a degree. Leads to a nice easy layup over some guards there. And then here on this last play, you're going to see, even with Bogut on the floor, even though he's not a threat to score, especially from the outside or anything like that, but Bogut is a nice veteran player, very smart player, where he gets the ball out of that double team and trap and quickly finds the open man, who is Livingston, who quickly drives and throws it up top to Draymond on the alley. And then you see it here conversely, when Bogut sets a little quick flare screen, Steph gets into the lane, sucks everybody in, throws it out to Draymond. He goes to relocate. Everybody runs to Steph. And then Draymond drives in, throws that easy lob up there to Bogut, who immediately relocates to the open area. Instead of staying there in the middle lane clogging it up, he moves up there to the easy, moves up to the open space for the easy tip in there, which he did a lot there in game 2. Gave him some great minutes off the bench there. And these were just kind of the key changes there that Golden State made that helped them win this game. Now, of course, once Clay went down, they kind of went to the box and won because it was only Steph and really Quinn Cook on the floor who could shoot at that time that they would be worried about. I guess the Raptors said they had to take their chances there with Quinn Cook, which he made them pay a couple times there in the fourth quarter. But they just said we're just not going to let Steph beat us there. But these were some of the adjustments that I thought Golden State would make actually in game 1 coming out the gate. This is why one of the reasons why I thought Marc Gasol would have a tough time playing in this series is, when they have 3 shooters out there, and now you have to have guys who can rotate and move so quickly because you're going to get so much movement off of Steph and Clay's movement off the ball. That's when I thought Marc Gasol would have a tough time, and it kind of showed there in game 2. We'll see if Toronto adjusts to that in game 3 at all. Like I said, Clay is expected to play. He said he's going to play in game 3, and I think he will. Clay's a pretty tough guy, so I expect that expect to see him, fully ready to go. So I still got my Warriors. I still got the Warriors there in 6 to win this series. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comments. Any other adjustments that you guys saw that we didn't cover here today. Who do you guys have in the series and how many games, and any other ideas on some topics that you like for me to cover and break down with some video footage? I love to do that there. So again, this is your boy Jae Crawford. This is the Excuse My Bias podcast here doing this video for YouTube. This is the one and only Bias Sports Podcast show, but not the one and only because we all have biases. There's different biases. Please go ahead and subscribe and check us out on all podcast platforms there. And subscribe to this YouTube channel. Like, comment, and share. Until next time, guys. You guys take care. Peace.